Hello, everybody. You are back with us, the Alberta Women's Independence Network, in conjunction with Alberta Nation Directory, doing our X Factor series. X as in the X Factor chromosome. And for the last month, we've been featuring Albertan women from all over the province who are just here to chat with us and tell us why they got involved in the independence movement, what their challenges are, what fun things they've been doing, who they've met, what their experience has been like. And as you can see, I'm solo. Angela is not with us today because she is doing a very important job being mom and grandma to her oldest daughter who just had her third baby. So we're wishing them all the best and look forward to Angela coming back soon, but very happy for her to be there for her family when they need her most. And just further proof that once a mom, always a mom. It just doesn't matter. One of those amazing moms in our lives that we've been able to meet is Lynn Hambly. She is outstanding. She's been part of this movement, I think, pretty much as long as I have, but she'll tell you her story. And we became fast friends right away. And I'm just excited to introduce you to her, another powerhouse here with us to be able to walk alongside us. And without further ado, I want to introduce you to Lynn. Lynn, how you doing?
Hi. I'm good, thank you.
You're good. You have a busy day, a typical Saturday for you. You had a meeting this morning and baking this afternoon and all the things that are going on for sure. So tell us how you got involved in the independence movement. What happened?
Well, I think I'm like a lot of other people. COVID happened. And
yeah.
When my premier called me a lunatic, and when my government actively started blowing up families and tearing them apart by good, bad versus status, I knew I had to do something. It woke me up because I'd had a wonderful, comfortable life. I'm old. I was a product of the 70s. We got out of school. There was good jobs, got a house. I had the perfect life. I'm a farmer's wife, raised our kids here on the farm. It was lovely. I was busy. It was just, everything was fine. And then it wasn't. And
then it wasn't.
Yeah. I just, that hit me so deep. And I thought I have to do something. There's got to be something, but I didn't know what. And because that was such a tumultuous time, there was lots of freedom groups connecting various, we'd meet in secret in a garage or whatever. I went to meetings where you had to leave your cell phone in the car. And through all of that, I did end up meeting David Parker and going to the Take Back Alberta events. And I will give him absolute credit for where I am today, because he's made mistakes, but he hands down has engaged more people in this province, everyday regular people, to understand the importance of doing something. Because I didn't have any idea that I could even do anything or how the system worked. So that was really great, because then I didn't feel powerless. I felt like I could do something. And that helpless feeling, once I got rid of that, my mental health state got better, and then I could start moving forward again. So that was basically what I got in, or why. I want to say 2020, 21, 20, somewhere in there when he started.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever it was that Kenny called us a lunatic, that was just, oh man. So that was what got me started. In our area, we'd had a candidate run against Jason Nixon to run in the election, and they had disqualified him for no reason, just that he was going to win. Mm-hmm. And that was so wrong. And this man is a farmer, my neighbor, and I know he's a good man. And I was just like, this has to stop. And so David educated us on what to do, and we got busy. And in January of 2023, we took over the whole board. And I was the director, and then I was VP of communications on that board. So that was a great experience.
Yeah.
Talk about learning under fire.
Mm-hmm.
Because you really got a sense of what you could accomplish and what you couldn't. Because some of the stuff we really wanted to do, we got squelched because Nixon had the power to squelch it. Mm-hmm. But we could do a lot of things, and we did, that we didn't need his permission. So I was very proud of what we accomplished on that board we were in for about 18 months. We decided not to have our AGM in January because when I got elected, it was January. They changed the date 3 times. It was -20 foggy. It was horrible. And we live in a very physically large constituency. So we had people driving 2.5 hours into fog to go vote. And I said, we will not do that. We have to make people safe. So we had it.
Yeah.
We wanted to have it late May. It ended up being June 1st. And the tale of reality, the 300 people that showed up and put us on the board did not show up to keep us on the board.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was that. I still go to all the meetings so I can see what's not happening. And I still write letters to all these people that at one time were very supportive. And some of them still are. Mm-hmm. And I keep them in touch on what's going on. Because it's just, I see more and more how when you have strong CA boards that are doing what they actually should, you get more regular moms like me, more regular people understanding what they can do and that they're not powerless, that we can have an effect on this insane world that we seem to be living in. But it is a constant work to keep people engaged and to keep fighting, because we went and we won and now we're out, and then what's next? So a bunch of things I've done in the meantime and I'm still doing, but David wasn't wrong. Once you're in, it's a lifelong thing. You're a lifer.
It really is. Yeah, it is. And exactly what you just described is our reality. Like there's the ebbs and the flows.
Yeah.
When people want to make change, they show up, they do what needs to be done. But then that complacency sets back in so quickly.
Yeah.
So quickly. And people just sit back home and go, okay, I did my part. And maybe yes, maybe no, but every year you got to come back and do it again. Because especially with these CAs, they have AGMs every year. Yeah. And so that's really cool. And you're right. Like David Parker did do a great job of teaching us all what we could do, what legal parameters we had to jump into the political fray and make a change without having to necessarily be to be an MLA, to be an elected official. Yeah. There are so many other jobs that need to be done and things that we need to be participating in. So that's pretty cool. And yeah, yours was pretty contentious because there's a history there. There's a lot of politics. There's a lot. Everybody thinks that the rural is just so relaxed and all the rest, and that's not true at all. That's not true at all. So that got you involved in the UCP. Mm-hmm. But then when did that switch happen to go, you know what, we need to get out of Confederation?
After I didn't get elected on the CA, I started working with the Alberta Pension Plan, the Alberta First Pension that Mitch Sylvester was going around promoting. Yeah. So I jumped into that because I really believed that we needed to get the pension, and that was something that we could do. And then when Mitch became the CEO of the Alberta Prosperity Project, he asked me if I would come on board with that. And I said, okay. And here I am, because it's absolutely, I believe, the only way Alberta survives. And I just want to say why this is so important to me.
Yeah.
I live in rural Alberta, and our values, our lifestyle is so precious and so different than the city and a lot of Canada. But that's what I grew up with, and that caring for your neighbor, that community, that sense of good, Christian values. I cannot sit by and see that lost. So I am determined to do whatever I can. And I've been in it long enough now. I can see the other factors coming in, how externally they're taking away 2 CAs rurally, and they're giving the cities 2 more in the next election. So my passion is I have to have this survive, because everything that is near and dear to my heart and that I want my grandchildren to have counts on this working, because they're gonna run rural right out. And
Absolutely. Yeah.
They're great. They say, oh, it's representation by population. Well, there should be some consideration for representation by industry and simple area, right? So if they give all the votes to the cities because the people live there, then how does any money get made to actually run the province and help people? Because if there's no votes or voice of the industries, which gets completely reduced with the less MLAs and representation you have, how do those industries survive? And we see now that we have a federal government that is determined to ruin all of Canada, and Alberta doesn't need to be ruined. We can be so good. We don't need them. And that's the only way that Alberta survives. And I need Alberta to survive so that my rural values can survive.
Right. And I believe, and Lynn, I'm curious to know if you agree with this. When, I'm just going to do that, when we are our own nation and we're independent, and we've, even before that, while we're on our way out of Confederation and all of that, I foresee some other provinces, namely Saskatchewan, following suit for sure. But beyond that, I don't know if there's any other way to save the people of Canada from the politics that have become so embedded here than for us to make this move. Like, the more I'm watching across the country what's going on, the more I'm beginning to realize we're kind of a city on a hill. Yeah. And if we don't do this, then the people in Ontario, the people in BC, the people in the Maritimes, like pick wherever, the people in the Northwest Territories, they don't have a hope of saving themselves either. Yeah. Like, we really are, I don't know what the word is, but I think it really is up to us to make it happen. We have a responsibility,
basically, to all of the Canadians that aren't awake, that don't see the dangers, that are still too busy being comfortable to notice the threat that's on their doorstep. And some of that's human nature, and that's tough, because you say, why should I do anything? It's human nature. You're never going to change them. But I think we do. I think that if we lead our lives as a good example, if we're not angry people and telling people, I never hound people or tell people. I just try and make them think about what's going on. And I hope that they sit back and see, I hope that what I do gives other women the chance to say, well, gosh, she was just shoveling manure here a few years ago, and she's out doing something. I could do that, because it's really that simple.
Yeah.
If we don't do it, if we don't try, all of Canada will fail. And I think the problem with Canada is we've never hurt. We've never felt hunger. My dad fought in the Second World War. That was a long time ago now. That was the last time there was any sort of trauma to Canada. And they didn't experience it then because those men went overseas. But my mom was a war bride. So I knew what they went through in London. She lived in London. I don't ever want that hurt to come here. And some people may not get it until they're really hurting, but I hope they don't have to hurt like that before they say we needed to do something. So if I can do a good enough job, if I can just be a positive face to somebody that makes them bother to pick up the literature and read it, because if you read it, it's there. You can't unsee this stuff. Like your presentation, it's there, right? So if I can just get more people just to hear it, I am pretty confident that we will have a successful referendum. I really am, because there's a lot of people that will say yes, but don't want to publicly say yes. So I guess my other thought is I hope that I can give them that courage to be okay with saying yes, and not fearful of either the outcome of worrying about what it might look like, or what society has programmed them to, is that, well, if you say that you believe X, then you're going to offend somebody over here, and we got to get past that. we've just got to get past that. It's
I
how
agree.
they manage to brainwash us and control us all.
Well, and I love this story. So you and I, we were at an event together the other night, and you shared a really cool story about a conversation you had with the lady, and it was specific to gun control. And how you framed it for her was beautiful. Can you share that with us?
Okay, I'll try. So I was sitting at the UCP AGM, and I happened to be sitting by a lady that was from Edmonton, and we were talking about the one resolution to repeal the no-fault insurance. And she said, "Do you mind if I ask you to vote yes to that?" And I said, "No, not at all. And tell me what you know." So she did, and I said, "Well, yeah, I'm glad I met you. I'm glad I talked to you because I love these things. That's why we get to connect and learn more about things, and it's great." So a little while later, then she says, "Could I ask you a question about gun control?" And I said, "Sure." She said, "I don't get it. I don't want people to have semi-automatic rifles, and we don't need guns and da da da. Why is this a big deal?" And I said, "Well, I have a Ruger 1022 with a little 10 clip. That could conceivably be deemed illegal. That the federal government has got this list going of banned, dangerous arms. And it's a live document. They just keep adding to it. It doesn't have to go through Parliament or anything." And I said to her, "Who do you believe that Canadian gun owners, we have to have a PAL, we have to go through all these safety courses. We're not the people that are creating, using gun. We're not the gun violence people." And she goes, no, it's the criminals." And I said, "They get their guns without a license, right?" And she goes, "Yeah." And I said, "So doesn't it make you wonder, anytime a federal government wants to disarm the population, that tells you something, because there's only one reason. If the population has no guns, they can't defend themselves. So there's just no other explanation." So I said, based on that, I hope you vote that this gun control, they've got to do away with it. We've got to stand strong.
And how did she respond to that?
She actually got it. She just had never thought about that before. So that was really cool. I thought that was probably the best thing I accomplished over the whole weekend. Was I had a good conversation with that lady.
Well, and that's the whole point, isn't it? It's just conversations. It's not screaming matches.
Yeah.
We don't have to be sitting there, browbeating other people. That's not it at all. It's just women getting together, having these chats over coffee or over a donut or over whatever, and talking about the things that matter to us and trying to get somebody else's perspective on it.
Yeah.
Is all. The other day I was having Helen Holder, Helen Holder. I love that lady, and she and I were talking about something, and she set me straight, and I was like, "Oh, look at you going and being all rational," I just didn't see I can't remember what we were talking about, but she just opened my understanding to something a little bit different, just like you did with this lady at the UCP AGM, which actually I didn't plan to go in this direction, but I'm going to anyways. There's a lot of chat about us conservatives that are part of the UCP party, and that it's a separatist party. Separatist, the bad word, right? Yeah. And I continue to try and help people understand, no, it's not an independence party. Our leader did not run on an independence platform or a campaign or anything like that. It just happens to be filled with a lot of us that want to see independence. And that's all. There's just nothing more to it than that. And so I'm wondering because you're right in there too, like a dirty shirt, just like I am. So what has your experience been as part of the UCP, but also as someone who wants to see us become our own nation?
Well, it's interesting because I sit on two different CA boards, and both of them have majority of independence-minded people. But there's still always that segment of those board members that are very concerned about the party survival. So there's the question, if we say this, and theoretically, no, the UCP party does not have a mandate for independence.
Nope.
But the UCP party does say that they are a party of the grassroots. They are a party of the people. The people are the party. That's the way I want to say it. The people are the party. And that's the most important part of governance that's written. The party are the people. So if that's the case, then if most of the members of the party want to go in this direction, there has to be an avenue to get there. So why I'm thrilled that Rob Smith got elected is he's the president of the board of the party. And he said that if we have a successful vote on a referendum to be independent, he will then convene the provincial board, and the party board will create a question asking UCP members if they want the party to become the Independence Party and govern Alberta. And he will do that by putting paper ballots out to all the different CAs, and everybody will physically get to do their vote. And then only in that, after that, would the UCP party become the ruling party that would be considered the Independence Party. And I totally respect that flow of how things happen. We have an awful lot of members that if we were to have forced independence for the party to say they're an independence party now, they would have left. So we go and we split the party. And then what do we end up with? We end up with the NDP. We keep doing this to ourselves, right? So we cannot split this party. We just have to be a bit patient. And people like myself and the rest of the people that believe in the independence movement, we're out there working, trying to affect so that when we have our formal referendum that we get our 50% plus one. And that's when the work really starts in.
Well, it really does. And what I really appreciated, particularly about the AGM, although I volunteered for most of it, so I missed out on a lot of the fun, but I still got to have, some one-on-one conversations with absolute strangers that I'd never met before, is that there is a want for information.
Yeah.
Like the curiosity level is incredible.
Well, I'm in it, so I have all these details, right? But then I step back and I think, well, if I wasn't this deep in working with the APP, I wouldn't know all of these details, and then I'd have all these questions myself. So yeah, people need to know what the future looks like and how we get there and what are the steps. And there's a lot of conflicting kind of worries and questions, but bottom down, we have to have an independence question and we have to pass it 50 plus one. And then the main point that I always say to people is we have everything that we end up being will be voted on by the people of Alberta.
Exactly.
So don't panic. You might not like the interim step. You might be worried that, I will absolutely say it, we're not going to be the 51st state. It is actually, actually why would we do that? And I've seen so many people adamant that they won't vote independence if they think that's where we're going. Legally, we can't even do that. We have to become independent first. So there's those steps to that. And there is a lot, because we have all the people trying to stop us from being able to even ask the question, because Canada knows now that we're kind of serious about this, right? And they're terrified. They don't want us to ask the question. They don't, because I think they know they're going to win, and they don't want that. So
no, they don't.
All of the stumbling blocks that get put in there, and then people go, what about this? Are we collecting signatures now? And what about this other one? And so as much as possible, I love it when people ask me questions, because I do have the answers for them, and I can sort of say, well, hey, just hang on. This is a little hiccup here. It's a road bump, a speed bump. Yeah, we can get over this one. We'll get to the next one.
Totally can. And I help manage one of the Independence Facebook pages. And I can tell you every day there's 3 of us that are going through all the requests to join. That's how much it's growing every single day. And it's something to keep up on. And so much so that if one of us has to, we're gone for a weekend or something and aren't going to have cell service or whatever, we let the others know, because the workload will be bigger for the other 2 people. And just to give them a heads up, what has been absolutely warming my heart beyond anything I ever thought possible over the last couple of weeks in particular is how many from the larger centers are coming in.
Good.
And it's legit, because we asked 3 questions. First of all, where do you live? Second, why do you want to participate in this conversation? And third, are you going to play nice in the sandbox, basically, right? And so in that second one, why do you want to participate? because I have questions and I want to learn more. I want to understand. We even had one lady in there. I wanted to reach out to her personally, but I thought it'd freak her out. I was so happy when she said, I don't understand you guys and where you're coming from, but I want to.
Oh, great. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I was just thinking, oh man, I hope there's loudmouths in every group, and I hope she doesn't really meet them. But 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 nevertheless, the appetite for information, even amongst the ones that don't believe this can happen,
Yeah.
is it's exponential.
Yeah.
It is absolutely exponential now, and so it can't be stopped. We're
No.
past that point, right? We're really past that point. And even something, I'm writing an article on it now. Hopefully I'll have it published by the end of the day. But I learned so much the other day, same event that you and I were at, about reaching out to the youth. Like, we can't have a one size fits all, which I knew. I knew that. I guess it was here, but it just didn't get here until those two ladies, those two young girls, at the meeting were talking. Well, this is what our lives are like. This is what goes on. This is how we communicate with one another. This is what we're dealing with in the universities. Like, that blew my mind.
That was so sad, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think we have an obligation as each different generation to don't just presume that the other generation understands things the same way we do. I mean, Angela and I started this whole AWIN thing because we finally acknowledged that even how men and women receive all of this information is very different.
Yeah.
Let alone now we're branching out into the different generations, and it's kind of fun. Like, it's a real unifying experience, honestly. So I think there's a lot of positives that are coming out of it, no matter what we do.
I know there's an awful lot of the youth that are, they know that the ones that are working, they know they could make better money. They see it, right? I worked a booth at the Pinoca Rodeo, and any of those young guys we talked to, they were in. But it saddened my heart because the young girls, we're not political. We don't understand. And only when their boyfriend said, get over here, you need to participate in this. Oh, he's telling me I will. And I was really sad because, like, come on, girls, like, you don't need some guy to tell you. So hopefully those girls wake up. We need some young stars to step on our stage with us. And
I agree.
And help. Yeah.
I agree. And for them to tell us, how can we help you? What do we need to do? Rather than us just saying, okay, well, we're going around talking to all of these folks in these different coffee shops and restaurants and halls and wherever else. Well, that's not their jam.
No,
so
not at all.
How do we help you guys? What do you need from us? Is it, like, I don't know, teach me how to use Instagram. I still haven't figured it out. And I'm happy to share your stuff. Just give me 5 minutes of your time to show me what to do, because I don't know. I can do Facebook and X and LinkedIn like nobody's business, but all these others, absolutely not. But it was so much fun to just figure that out together. And and to bring everybody together again, because I think that's another thing that has been lost in our society, are those generational meal times of everybody getting together at mom and dad's on Sunday, and Christmas dinner being 30 some people, and all like that. Do we do that? Do they even do family reunions anymore? I don't know.
Some do. I mean, we don't. It's kind of bad, but we don't.
Yeah. Maybe we can get back to that just by using an independence movement of getting communities back engaged, right? Families back engaged.
Well, like my son, he wishes that the community was the same, so that he's raising his children. He'd like to have a community picnic and the Christmas supper, and he sees that it's gone.
Yeah.
So that's just like one generation down. There'll be nothing. I mean, his children won't even have that to think they wish they had. So maybe we can get this fixed so that his children can at least see what it could be and experience some of those things.
Exactly. And bring those traditions back, bring some of that fun, that community fun back.
Yeah.
To what Yeah, to what we used to have. Like I remember doing sleigh rides as kids with half the neighborhood. Like I going skating on the outside rink and freezing everything. But I mean, you were just there as a community, and all the adults looked after all the kids, and the kids all just sort of hung out together. And I don't know. I don't know. We got to get back to that, Lynn, one way or another. Get back to
We got to
these
stop being
values.
afraid of everything.
Yeah.
And society has, they've been working on this for a long time. The message of you've got to be safe. And now everybody has to have a helmet and you can't do this and you can't do that. And in the rural area, it's not as predominant as the cities. And I think we have to really jump on that. But
Yeah.
things that we used to do when our kids were little, like go up to the neighbor's hill and sled. Well, nobody does it anymore because, well, somebody might sue, right? And I'm like, we've got to get back to that real trust and know your neighbor. Trust and know your neighbor, you know?
Yeah, I agree. It's interesting that it might be a political movement that does it.
Well, I think we've gotten so far down the road of letting our values go that it's going to take this for them to have the strength to come back. Because until we feel safe, we won't do that. And until we have a government that makes us safe, and instead of jailing pastors and doing all the wacko crazy stuff they do, and we won't feel safe. So we have to begin to start to feel safe again. I am not looking for a government to control me or even take care of me in the sense of I don't want social programs. I don't expect this or that, but I do expect that I should be able to call the police and they'll come and help me. And that's not a reality in rural Alberta. They're not coming. No, so that's a shame. And here's a funny story. I was in Red Deer a few months ago and I made an illegal turn. I was behind a big semi truck and I just had to get around that corner, didn't I? By the time I followed the truck around, it was actually red. And whoop, on goes the lights. And I went, oh no, is that me? And so I pulled over and then I got out of the car and walked to him. And he gets out and he's like, get in the car. And I'm going, what? Why? What? And then I went, I said, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. Like, but I grew up that you go to the policeman and he will take care of you. He'll make you, it's okay. I said, I'm sorry. I never thought about this. Yeah, you might think, I'm sorry. He didn't even give me a ticket. But that whole, nobody goes to the police today to feel safe. You can't get in. If you go there, the doors are locked.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, how weird is that? Like, so we have to have the government provide the facilities that we need to keep us safe. And I think once we start feeling safer, then maybe we'll stop expecting all of this, like worrying about everything. We used to have
our guard up.
We used to learn by doing. If you bumped your head, you went, well, I won't do that again. Like I'll be a little more careful when I'm going down the hill or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But there's no learning by experience anymore because they've made people so afraid that you're supposed to prevent everything. And that's not even reality. There'll never be a life in which they can regulate safety. It just isn't there. It has to come from up here and in your heart.
Well, and I think something else that has happened over the years, and they just did it, they just crept in, is they took away our ability to look after ourselves and look after each other.
Yeah.
Right. And we let it. That's the worst part is we let it happen. That, we'll just call somebody else. The government will do it. The government will do this. The government will do that. Rather than, well, you know what? If your neighbor needs something, you go.
Yeah.
You go do it.
I think we've just been so spoiled. Like I go back to when I was a young woman and first married and everything was lovely. We had a small community club that I joined and I remember getting a phone call from the neighbor and she said, go in the house and get your kids in the house. There's a stranger driving by. I don't like the looks of that. Thank you. Like she was 2 miles away. In the house I went. Yeah. But that was 47 years ago or 45 or something like that. And now, I was so busy working on the farm and raising my kids and doing what I had to do, that as all these changes came along, I didn't even know they were happening.
Yeah.
I didn't realize what was going because I was too busy. And I wasn't as busy in some aspects as they are now. But we seem to think we've been programmed to think that our children need to be in extracurricular everything. They're not going to be socially okay unless they're in extra sports or extra something.
Mm-hmm.
And so all parents are spread so thin. Put that in with the economy that both parents have to work now. Most of them both have to work. If they want to have the same lifestyle that they see everybody else living. You can
Yeah.
maybe, and because I don't want to sound like, everybody could do this on one income, but it's all what you're willing to give up to get. So maybe you live in a smaller house and maybe you don't go out to dinners and maybe your kids don't play sports, but maybe that means you get to be home every day with your children and somebody else isn't mom because they're at daycare raising them. And maybe you don't get to eat roast beef dinners. Maybe you eat simpler food. I get all that, right?
Yeah.
But it's a matter of we've become so addicted to being busy. And I was there too. I was just busy.
Oh, yeah.
Until it got so bad that it was when my family was being torn apart, I went, now I'm awake. Now something has happened. So,
yeah. And that's, I think, that's why we're seeing kind of the mama bears, right? That's what Bonnie Meekley calls us. The mama bears have all risen up and said, yeah, you know what? Enough is enough.
Yeah.
Enough is enough. It's time to take this back and to do something. That's fantastic. Lynn, you're beautiful. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today and bringing me to your neighborhood the other day. That was lovely. I had a great time. There. What's one thing, if you could say one last thing to the ladies that are listening to this, that are mulling over the idea of Alberta independence, or maybe even don't even want to think about it? What's that one little nugget you'd like to leave?
I would like them to believe in themselves. Maybe that's a big thing to say, but I think every single person has something that they wish they could be or do or have, and they think there's something preventing them. But oftentimes what's preventing them is just their own mindset. So try really hard to believe in yourself, because if you can usually find ways to accomplish most anything.
That's a perfect place to end this. Thank you so much, Lynn.
Thanks, Kathy. Take care.